First at 10:30, the State Parole Commission is freeing dangerous felons who've committed heinous and deadly crimes under an outdated sentencing law.
As Fox 46 Chief Investigator Jody Barr uncovered, the law gave convicts eligibility to be released, which is something North Carolina has since outlawed.
I was going to plant flowers for her. And when I got here and she wasn't here, or she didn't answer the door, I thought nothing of it. I just went ahead and planted the flowers like I promised her I would.
Donna Vagliano had no idea as she worked in her aunt's yard that day in 1993, the 84-year-old was dead. Merle Lee Guin was beaten to death inside her home with 44 stab wounds spread over her 90-pound body. It took investigators just a few days to find the killer. They didn't have to look far to find Tony Hartsell. He lived feet away, right across the street. Vagliano locked eyes with Hartsell that day in 1993 while her aunt lay dead inside.
I noticed he came out of the out onto his porch, and I waved at him. I didn't know that she was in there, that she had been murdered at that point. He was watching my every move.
The investigation found Hartsell slipped over to Guin's home around midnight, September 10, 1993. Guin knew Hartsell and let him in. Investigators used DNA evidence to prove Tony Hartsell did it. After a 3-week trial, a Gaston County jury found him guilty. Prosecutors sought the death penalty, but this jury note inside the case file shows 8 jurors wanted Hartsell to die for what he did, but 4 did not. Without a unanimous vote for the death penalty, the judge sentenced Hartsell to life in prison.
I think that the jurors who agreed that he was guilty gave him life because to them, life meant life. Just like I thought life meant life. I thought he would die in prison.
In the 70s, 80s, and into the early 90s, the North Carolina legislature allowed murderers and rapists with life sentences a chance at parole after serving 20 years. For Hartsell and nearly 1,300 current prisoners, they're now parole eligible. But just 14 months after the Guin murder, the state outlawed parole for crimes committed after October 1994. On March 1st, the 4 members of the state's parole commission voted to free Hartsell. It takes only a simple majority to grant parole, something Vagliano and her family spent a decade begging the parole commission not to do.
We were just all devastated. I have people that, that live in Maine, that their family, and they're all devastated. People that even in Maine are devastated that they could let someone that did this to this petite little lady, so old, and let them out. The brutality of what he did, and disregarding us.
And you don't think 25 years in prison fixed that?
No, no. And I don't think another 25 would fix it. I do not think that they can be rehabilitated in prison. I just don't. Not for somebody that did that.
Sounds like the state of North Carolina believes he's good to go.
Yeah, but none of them would volunteer for him to move in beside him.
In the past 3 months, this commission freed 6 murderers and 2 convicted rapists just within the Charlotte area. Rapists like Jervon K. Wilkes, a Mecklenburg County jury convicted him in 1993 of sexually assaulting a 7-year-old handicapped boy. After 27 years in prison, the parole commission freed Wilkes in March. A registered sex offender, he now lives an hour outside the city.
I could see the coldness in his eyes, and if you look at him there, he still has those same cold, dark eyes that just seem lifeless. And so uncaring.
With 60-year-old Hartsell now a free man, Merle Lee Guin's family says they and other victims' families have fears they thought those jury verdicts took away so many years ago.
He knows that where this property is. It's a scary thing to not know if he's watching me, because I testified as well.
We asked the 4 parole commissioners for an interview, but all 4 declined. Now, although state law requires parole review for these older cases, it does not require the commissioners grant parole. In fact, there are 4 legal grounds to deny parole. One is setting a convict free would unduly depreciate the seriousness of the crime. That's exactly what the Guin family says happened when the state cut Tony Hartsell's life sentence short and gave him back his freedom. Jody Barr, Fox 46 investigates.
And you can find out more about the Tony Hartsell case and many others we uncovered in our Killer Deal investigation. Just go to the Investigate section of fox46.com.